Mariel, thank you for coming today. I'm going to introduce you quickly. You are an embodiment coach, movement teacher, instructing yoga primal, right?
Yeah.
So you've been, you moved to Ibiza a few years ago, I think?
Almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago, with your family, with your husband, your kids. Can you tell me a bit more about your practice, what you do?
Yeah, so as an embodiment coach, I have been coaching clients for the past 10 years. And what I found initially when I got into coaching, it was a lot about reframing the mind. And over the years, especially with my background in yoga and movement, I was really noticing the missing link between what they call psyche and soma. So combining not only the power of the mind, but how things get stored in the body and how we heal our nervous system, how we create safety within our bodies so that the mind, it will always play tricks. The body never lies.
There it is.
There he is.
Yes, so basically it's the connection between mind and body, right? That you are teaching people how to move and also connect all those.
Yeah, I think over the years I was just realizing how disconnected we are from our bodies. And the more disconnected we are from our bodies, the mind takes control, and it's an incredibly clever mind, but it can also trick us, whereas the body never lies. And so being able to work on both simultaneously, and also a lot of the work that I do ancestrally, spiritually, so it's really trying to sort of tackle all angles of personal development, and it's been shifting over the last decade. It's an exciting journey to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that 100%. I can see the massive difference in the period of my life where I was working out or not. If I was moving my body one way or another, whether it was football, hiking, swimming, or not, I could see if I look back, that was the hardest moment in my life where I was not working out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as soon as I start to get into the habits of whatever, moving my body, doing something, everything gets easier, and the mind quiets down, and you just create more clarity, I feel.
Yeah, I always go back to this beautiful quote by Viktor Frankl that says, between stimulus and response, there's space, and within that space, there's choice, and in that choice is where our power lies. And I find that the more that we connect with our body and move our body, we can start to create space in the mind. And I think that's where all the magic happens. It's in our ability to, tap into that choice.
I love the fact that you publicly call yourself a fallible woman. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
It's really interesting because whenever you work with a coach or a therapist or anyone in any sort of healing modality, there's this assumption that we've somehow surpassed all mistakes, all failure, and it's the opposite. We're all fallible humans, and in my own personal journey, I really want to own that, because growing up, I was quite the perfectionist, and a lot of that perfectionism stemmed from this fear of wrongness, right? There's this divide between what's right and what's wrong, and I was always scared of being wrong or doing it wrong or getting it wrong. And I'm really trying to embrace the fact that when you really look at things, at our experiences, there is no wrong. There's just learning, right? There's experience, and there's what we do with that experience. And one of the most beautiful things that I heard recently was talking about this whole notion of transcendence. So the moment we want to transcend something, we've already rejected it. And so this desire to, transcend, the ego goes beyond, it's a rejection of who we are. And in order for us to change the things that we don't like about ourselves, we have to accept them first. And so that fallible piece is crucial, because unless you accept the shadow, they say the shadow can only take you down from behind. So it's bringing it all forward and really embracing the whole. And so honoring the fact that we're all fallible human beings, but in particular, I am a fallible woman. I think that's a big piece of the work that I do.
Yeah. Also, I realized that I was very similar as you. I was like, I cannot fail. I didn't allow myself to fail. I didn't I didn't allow myself to look at what was truly in my failures. And that really actually stopped me from growing and for actually failing, because I couldn't accept what was wrong, so I couldn't find a solution to it, right? And I think as soon as I let go of whatever people call the ego or whatever, and be like, I'm fucked up, or I suck at that. I'm really bad. I need to learn something. I need to, look at myself truly as what I am, and see like, okay, what do we do now? And everything shifted for me. When I the growth and the way my life has changed since I've accepted this is just insane. So I think it's a incredible topic, and there's a beautiful thing I think to accept the failure. To get a bit deeper into this topic of failing, I know you told me that you had recently an experience this year that really reflect this philosophy that you have and how you accepted yourself as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, probably. So do you want to share that with me?
Yeah, absolutely. So I haven't fully gone into the details publicly, but it's been a challenging year. So for context, I think I've been married 8 years next week, language. So I've been married 8 years next week. Yeah. And we've been together for 10 years. We have 2 beautiful children. And anyone who knows us, we are this incredible family. My family unit is like my pride and joy. It's really special, and it's interesting because my relationship with my husband has always been incredibly strong. I've always said it, and it's true. He's the most beautiful human being I've met. I don't know if he's an old soul or a new soul. That said, I signed up for a 3-year training. Almost 2 years ago, I got accepted last year. And within this 3-year training, we do retreats every 6 months. And I went on one of these retreats and had one of those life-altering transformational experiences in which I met someone. And it was a strange sort of met someone, because it's someone that I knew from before, but it awoke something in me that had been dormant, possibly through my marriage, but also quite naturally through motherhood. I think relationships really evolve when you have children, and we lose a lot of that partnership between each other. And for me, it was a huge wake-up call, because in 10 years that I've been with my husband, I've never been interested in another man. It just came as a total shock, and it was an emotional attachment. And so nothing ever happened. It was never physical, but emotional can sometimes be harder, especially for women. And this went on for about 6 months, at which point, because I didn't know what it was or what had awoken in me, I struggled to share it with my husband. So my husband knew something was off, but he was kind of in the dark. And essentially what happened was he found out about it. Actually, he found out about it before I was able to tell him. I went on a second retreat in the summer where I was offline, and there was this fear for my safety, so he went on my computer, and within the computer found a lot of the messages that I had shared. And so any kind of betrayal between a couple, the ego instantly comes into play. And what could have happened was that my husband would have been, he was hurt. He was deeply hurt. But beyond that, I think when the ego comes in, we get defensive and we start to blame. And it's all about, how could you do this? Again, having said that, I married one of the most amazing human beings that I know. What my husband did was the opposite. So when he found out, he sat me down and he actually gave me a letter. And he told me to read the letter and then asked me to speak. And in this letter, he said, I don't blame you and I don't judge you, but I realize that this has brought up a question, in our marriage, and I want you to know that I'm all in. Like, I want to explore this. I want to understand what's happening. But I also love you enough that if this is more than what I've realized it to be, I'm going to let you go, right? Like, I'm going to be here for that.
Wow.
And so, I know.
That's an alpha male.
Yeah. No, and it really hit me, this this realization, this reminder of what a beautiful man I'm with. And what I hadn't had a chance to tell him before he found out about it was that my realization through this process, because it was so foggy for like 6 months, just so much confusion. And when the penny dropped, when the clarity hit, what I realized was that it had less to do with the person and more to do with me. That every human being in life, I feel, offers us a reflection. It either triggers us, it shows us our shadows, it shows us what we're lacking, it shows us our desires, our needs. It can show us our light as well. And what had come up in this relationship was this desire to feel, in some ways, wanted again, but also to have that spark of something new. You know, we've been together for 10 years. So any couples out there that have been together for a really long time understand that sometimes you need rupture for there to be growth. Sometimes you need these moments of disruption to have a more honest conversation. And I have such a good relationship with my husband, but this whole situation opened up a level of honesty that I was shocked we've never had before. And when I look at people around me, I started to realize just how superficial our relationships become because we get comfortable, right? We have these routines, we live together, some of us work together. It's, you know, I have children that sleep in our bed still sometimes. So it just tapped into this whole notion of what intimacy truly is. And for me, the work that I do in embodiment and in coaching, it really is, when I think of intimacy, into me, I see, it starts with the self. Like how well do you know yourself? And this woke up something that I didn't know was alive in me. And it had something to do with me being a 41-year-old sexual woman. You know, it's really tapping into things that maybe I forgot. You know, I'm not that old. I'm still, I still have needs. I still have desires. And what it did in our relationship was allow us to look at how we bring that back, right? How we find that connection again. And before I focus on the intimacy of us as a couple, we have to do our own work individually. So my husband's on a retreat with Bergs. He's on a silent retreat. I've been doing my own work. And one of the most recent things that I heard from Esther Perel that really stuck with me is that often we forget that in order for a fire to burn, it needs air, right? And that air is space. It comes back to that Viktor Frankl quote of like, everything needs space, including relationships. And my husband and I, since COVID, we've worked together, we've lived together, we've traveled together. We've had no space. We have 2 kids. It is and so for the first time in our lives, we've started to recognize a bit of codependency and how important the need to come together doesn't mean that we need to be on top of each other. It actually means that we need to start finding things that make us exciting again. And long story short, that's been part of our journey, and really looking at how important it is to embrace really difficult situations and really difficult conversations. And the fact that as human beings, one of the things I think we suppress more than anything is our natural desires, our attractions, and how we explore that, right? Whether it's within a relationship that is closed, within a relationship that is open, whatever it is that people are exploring. My husband and I have a closed marriage, but then it's looking at what's going on within that so that we can spend another 10 years together, another 20, 30 years together. I mean, we've both grown up with parents that are married, grandparents that are married, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, right? Yeah. What if it doesn't work out? That fallible piece, right? What if that fairy tale that we grew up with isn't what we thought it was going to be? And that's hard, the realization that happily ever after doesn't exist in the way that Disney used to portray it.
Yeah. And that's, if you want to make it happen, it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of, like, I think, and your story is incredible, and thank you so much for sharing, because I know it takes a lot of vulnerability and it's very, very personal. But what really, really touched me in your story is that the strong couples are not like built in easy times. You know, it's like when hard times come, what's happening? What do we do? And this is what, when you look back, I think at the end of your life, look at all the things you've conquered, you know, and together, like, you know, it's not like just a nice little holiday or weekend, like, you know, like, it's the hard things that you've been through together that makes us like a strong couple, I believe.
Yeah.
And also like the amount of maturity and wisdom that it takes. Like, for example, your husband has been, I think it's very rare to have people who face a situation like that with so much compassion and understanding, because instead of, as you said, blaming, he was like, what happened? What's happening? You know, like, you know, because there's always a reason why people do something. And he went, okay, just tell me what's up. And I think it's very, very inspiring for a lot of people, I hope, to try to come from this point of view in a relationship and be like, okay, what's happening? You know, let's talk about it. Let's try to understand what we can do and try to fight a bit for this beautiful thing that is a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, the talking about it, I think, is so important because, you know, shame lives in silence, and there's so much shame around these sort of subjects. And having the courage to go there, to actually be able to voice things that feel threatening, right? Because for our nervous system, like, that's a very dangerous possibility, right? If you were to share what happened to me, there's that threat that my husband might leave me, right? Or that he might be so upset that we can never rebuild trust. And so creating the safety to be able to go there and to also normalize something that I really do believe is very normal for us as humans.
What is, sorry?
Having these experiences where I think
everybody does.
Absolutely. And I don't even know that it's an attraction to somebody else, but it can be any kind of rupture where it's like we just don't talk anymore, or we have different parenting styles, which comes up a lot, or different, you know, we grow up, some people get married or come together very young, and it's like we've grown up in different directions. And how do we come together and explore something that is really difficult, that's really challenging, with vulnerability, with the safety that our egos aren't going to just trigger, react. And I have to say, my husband, the first time, I think I shared this with you a while ago, that the first time I had a fight with him, I had been dating arguably slightly narcissistic men. As a people pleaser, I think that's quite common. But everything I was told throughout my life was, go sort yourself out and then come back and talk to me when you're less emotional. Especially as a woman, the emotional thing gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy.
Of course.
And my husband, the first time we had an argument, he sat me down, and I had been told I was emotional for so much in my life that I actually didn't know what I felt. So when we talk about disconnection to the body, I couldn't identify why I felt the way that I felt, but it would erupt a lot, especially as a Latina, you know, we get throw plates.
Yeah. Can goes up high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But my husband sat me down and he was like, you have every right to feel the way that you feel. Just talk me through it so that I can get on the same page. Nobody's ever said anything like that to me. I don't even think my parents ever said that to me. And so for someone to normalize that it's okay to be emotional, that it's okay to feel, but to take a moment and try to articulate it, changed my life, truly. And so I feel very grateful that I have someone that can hold that kind of space for me, even though I'm the coach. And I really would love to help people find that in their partnerships, to be able to soften the trigger, the reactivity, the anger, because beneath that, there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of fear of failure. There's a lot of just fear.
Yeah.
So
it always comes down to fear, right?
Always comes down to fear.
So I don't know if you remember, but you sent me a text after the first time we met. I would love you to read that again and tell me if it makes sense.
Okay.
And I'm going to start cooking for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember. People think a soulmate is your perfect fit, and that's what everyone wants. But a true soulmate is a mirror, the person who shows you everything that is holding you back, the person who brings you to your own attention so you can change your life. A true soulmate is probably the most important person you'll ever meet. because they tear down your walls and smack you awake. Soulmates, they come into your life just to reveal another layer of yourself to you and then leave. A soulmate's purpose is to shake you up, tear apart your ego a little bit, show you your obstacles and addictions, break your heart open so new light can get in, make you so desperate and out of control that you have to transform your life. Then they introduce you to your spiritual master.
Beautiful.
Eat, pray, love. It's one of my favorite
Beautiful
sections. Yeah, it's true. I think a lot of people assume that soulmates or that love is this easy, big.
You meet someone, you
thing.
made for each other,
Yeah,
done, that's it.
Absolutely. And I think what we don't realize is love's everything that comes after. I think it's love is what stays, you know, what recognizes the fallible nature in somebody else and is still willing to be there, right? To hold that, to love that. I think that's the love within friendship. That's the love within family. It's loving beyond the easiness. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. So I've made something for you. I've made a dish. So you told me that one of your favorite dishes, rice and beans, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more? Because honestly, I had no idea what it was. I had to look it up and just try to understand and wrap my head around this dish. I've made my best.
So
But yeah, tell me a bit more.
So I grew up in Latin America. I went to high school in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
My mother's Mexican, so I'm half Mexican. And rice and beans, it sounds like the simplest thing in the world, but it's very, what's the word? It's comfort
Food.
it's also, this is going to sound probably wrong, but it's the affordable food, right? It's what everybody can eat, and so they'd make it in large quantities. And I remember in the Dominican Republic, they'd even almost slightly burn the rice, and they'd call it concon. And you would have it with plantains. And you know, in the Caribbean, it's very common to have it with like jerk chicken or something. But for me, it was always just the rice, beans, and plantains. I
love that.
It reminds me of growing up for sure. So I'm excited to see what this creation is.
Yeah, me too, actually. It's, this is what I like about this project, actually, and this show. Is like, I ask people, you know, their memories about food and what they like. And usually they say things that I don't even know what it is. I never had it before, you know?
Yeah.
So I need to, try to, you know, create something that is as close as possible to your memory. But also I want to, you know, I want to enjoy cooking it. Yeah. So it has to be with my flavor, the thing I like also. So yeah. But
a bit of personal flair.
Yeah, I think you have to, because that would be just a bit lazy and not really enjoyable for me to just go on, you know, on YouTube and be like, okay, I'm going to do what the guy is doing. It's just, so I've made some pork belly with it. You like pork belly? All right. Pork belly, amazing. Beans. So rice and peas, crispy pork belly.
Wow.
Fried plantain with lime, and this is like a Cuban mojo sauce. All right. I will use it with the pork belly and the plantain as well.
The plantain.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Choose your weapons over there.
Okay. I'm going to try with the chopsticks.
Try,
and
yeah.
Let's see. Just typical. Looks hot.
Oh, it's hot? Yeah. Honestly, you should use a spoon for that if I were you.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Use the chopsticks
yeah.
for this.
Yeah, you have a spoon next to you if you.
Yes. Now I can really eat. Mm. Oh, it's so yummy.
Great.
The peas are so interesting.
How's this? Good?
It's really good.
Nice.
I love the sweetness of the plantains.
Yeah, and if you play with the acidity of the mojo sauce.
Yeah,
Sweet, sour.
I love that. Yeah, that makes a difference. Oh, it's so yummy.
So yeah, I love the. It's good, pork belly.
So good.
Yeah. So there's a really cool story actually behind this dish that I discovered. So I did some research. So it's called Mojos y Cristians, which means Moors and Christians. So it's basically the story of the war between the Muslim coming to Spain and the Christian in Spain. So the Mojos, Africans are the beans because they're dark skin, and the rice are the Christians because they're white. So I think there's a whole story around that. Kind of cool. When I did the research, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
Mojos y Cristians.
Mojos y Cristians.
Yeah. And also there's something, I remember when the first time we talked, you told me about your, your background and how, like you have been pushing away a bit your roots and your culture for a long time. And you really called yourself an English. And you are like,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to tell me a bit more? While you eat this dish, maybe it makes sense, no?
Yeah, I had a very broken relationship with my mom growing up. There's quite a lot within sort of the feminine lineage. I wasn't very close to my mother's mother either. And I think because of that disconnection, I just never felt Mexican. My father's English, and I was very close to my grandparents on the English side. And
you never spoke Spanish with your mom or something growing up? Or
I
you had the Spanish language in the...
I spoke Spanish, but I never felt comfortable fully in it. To this day, I'm fluent in Spanish, but the perfectionist in me really struggles to use it, especially when I teach or when I coach, because I just don't feel like my vocabulary is quite as extensive as it is in English. Of course, yeah. And so I just resisted it, all of it, speaking it, really connecting with my roots. So my mother's grandfather, my great-grandfather, was Mayan. And he used to speak to my mom in Mayan.
Wow.
So really beautiful heritage that I have. And I neglected it growing up. And so now that my family live in Mexico, now that my mother and I have spent a lot of time working on our relationship, I've really sort of started exploring those roots. I now do Mayan cosmology readings. I found an incredible mentor where my family live in Tepoztlan. And yeah, it feels like a big part of my healing is really diving into this ancestral side, but it also has a lot to do with why I work so much with women. I think because I had that broken relationship with my mom, I was never very good with female friends, and I have never really connected properly with my feminine energy. Never. It manifested in a very strong masculine, and I think in the world that we live in, a rather toxic masculine. So the doer, the constant, I'm very good at getting things done. I burn out quickly, I lose my voice. And I think the feminine, especially in this beautiful island in Ibiza, she teaches you to slow down, to receive. I mean, this for me is like the most amazing gift. And so, yeah, that's been a big part of my journey. And this just feels like home. It's lovely.
Amazing. You said curiosity will always guide you to the deeper meaning and broader perspective. What does that mean?
So curiosity is, for me, one of our biggest teachers. And I love that we can always hold curiosity with whatever it is that we're going through. So you can be angry and be curious. You can be happy and be curious. And it's the curiosity that gives you insight, because beyond the emotion, you don't just get stuck in what you're feeling. There's this desire to learn from what that emotion is trying to tell you. And I feel like where I am right now with curiosity, I've been doing a 3-year training in psychotherapy and psychedelics. And this training has not only awoken curiosity in me, but it's also brought me back to magic. It's brought me back to mystery. And
What's magic?
Yeah. So magic for me is, I listened to a podcast recently where they were talking about how scientists say that 80% of the universe is dark matter. And we know nothing about dark matter. So 80% of the world, like everything 80% of it, we know nothing. And we're so fixated on control, on controlling the way that we look, on controlling the way that we behave, the way that we're perceived. And in reality, we don't lean into so much of the unknown, the ineffable, the mystery. And I like to think of it as magic. I think we grow up being told that magic doesn't exist. And if you look at, I don't know, back in the day of the witches, if you look at a lot of like shamanic cultures, if you look at a lot of this ancestral wisdom, there are very deep elements of magic, of our connection
with the unknown.
With the unknown.
Everything we don't know is magic. Right?
Totally, with the dark matter. And so this training that I've done has really helped me believe. So a prime example for me, I will be on a retreat and I'll be holding a breathwork session. And I'll use an exact example. I was on a retreat last year. I was holding this breathwork session, and I don't know why, but I felt compelled, nothing tangible, but I was like, I'm going to go put my hands on this girl's shoulders. And as I do so, I'm going to say to her in my head, "You are not what happened to your grandfather." It just felt like something I should do. Her body shook the moment my hands went on her. And after that breathwork session, she came up to me and she said, "Did you know to come to me in that moment?" And I was like, I felt called to. And she was like, "It felt like you took a spirit out of my body. My whole body shook." Is it real? Is it not? Is it magic? I don't know. But it's the unknown, and it's leaning into the belief that anything is possible. Yeah. If we can listen to our intuition, if we can listen to that inner knowing. And this training that I'm doing really reinforces that. You know, yes, we can have structure, we can have protocols. When you're looking at psychotherapy, it's very, you know, again, masculine, very contained. And
logical.
Yeah. But then there's the feminine, right? There's the just, I don't know, the fluid, the
invisible.
Invisible, yeah. And so that's been a really big piece for me. And this summer, I went to Ecuador. I went into the jungle and I got to have my first experience with a tribe. They're known as the Aikofan. And I really had to lean into curiosity with everything that I shared earlier of what I was going through with this experience and this confusion with my husband. I went into the ceremonies that we had with this indigenous tribe expecting the medicine to give me answers. So again, there's sort of that feeling of control, right? I'm doing this, I want answers. And I went through 4 ceremonies where I got nothing. I think for...
We talk about psychedelics, right?
Psychedelic. Yeah. In this case, yes, we were working with Yahe. And a lot of times, the reason I'm interested in psychedelics is I think everyone's looking for a quick fix. Right? We're all looking for that easy answer. And I don't believe that there is one. And I think psychedelics, what they are a doorway.
An accelerator.
Yes, they give you insights that you then take back into the present moment and apply them to your life. But we look at them, and I did in this situation, as give me the answers, right? Like, tell me what do I need to do. Yeah. And you know what? They didn't...
Save me.
Yeah, and they didn't. And they didn't, and yet they did, in that they the curiosity. So I remember on the last day I was sitting there and I was really frustrated and I'm like, I've gotten nothing out of this. Not really, but I was thinking like, wow, I really got no downloads, no anything. And what did happen was the fog that I'd had for 7 months was just completely lifted. And I went from not understanding anything to having complete clarity, but from a place of curiosity of why is this happening? What about this situation with my husband? Like, does it mean that I'm attracted or in love with somebody else? Does that mean that our relationship's over? I was looking for all of these sort of threads, and what it gave me was a reflection of myself, a mirror that was basically saying, this has nothing to do with your husband or this other person. It has everything to do with you. And again, coming back to that whole thing on intimacy, it's like, try to understand what's alive in you in this moment and what's missing, right? What did this person wake up in you? What do you need to say to your husband that you haven't said? This is all about me. It had nothing to do with anyone else. And so a really big thing that I often tell my clients is every outer experience is a projection of your inner landscape. So if you focus on you, the rest falls into place. But that curiosity has to be about yourself. What is this trying to teach me about myself? And with psychedelics, it's what is this altered experience trying to show me about my life as it is in this present moment? Because otherwise it becomes a form of escapism, which everything in life, you know, like our addictions, our phones, everything's a distraction. And the true curiosity lives in the now, right? Everything that matters, joy, pleasure, it's here in this moment. And so it's like, how do we take everything that we're learning? How do we get curious about it and then bring it into the only thing that exists, which is this right now, you and me.
That's it. No, I mean, it's incredibly beautiful what you just said. And this, everybody knows that, but no one truly understands it. Even me, sometimes I struggle. Now, what is it? You know, like there's nothing else but a journey. There's nothing else but a journey. Like there's nothing else coming. There's nothing behind. It's just what's happening here. It's such a well-known concept, that is so like hard to understand. Because it's basically a constant reminder of it. But like every single minute of the day, almost. It's a training.
Totally.
You know, you need to be able to take a step back from yourself. Sit in your whatever, your place of consciousness when you can witness everything that happens to you, and then you're like, this is where I am, this is where I am, this is where I am, and there's nothing else. Of course, there's something else. Hopefully, the tomorrow is coming, but it doesn't matter. That's what I mean. And it's, I find this is probably the hardest practice.
100%.
And this is why there is like monks and people just spending their whole lifetime trying to.
But they also,
monks
that. Don't live the lives that we, you know, it's so easy to be on a mountain, I know so many people that have
when
gone.
you have no tax to pay.
Totally, exactly, of course. Silent retreats, we were just talking about this.
The pressure of the city, of, your job, money, like your family, everything is just, of course.
It pulls us away.
Of course.
Yeah, and we forget.
Yeah, so it takes a true mastery, and also like, I realized that there's also like a bit of a paradox in all that power of now and like the presence is that as soon as you realize you're present, you stop being present, right? So this is just, this battle between, as soon as you witness it,
and they say
it's like joy. Oh, I'm happy, and you stop being happy because you witness it.
And I think the curiosity can also be physical, because there's nothing that brings you into the now as our senses, right? So it's like hearing the pot stir, or smelling the food, or tasting the flavor, or seeing the beautiful day. Like these are the things that anchor us in the here and now, but we're so cerebral. We're so in our heads that even in this present moment, the moment I'm thinking about being happy, I'm in my head, I'm in my thoughts, and I've gone. And they say, guilt lives in the past, anxiety lives in the future. And we just pendulum swing between guilt and anxiety. And so, it's a daily second practice of how can I enjoy.
Bring yourself back. Bring yourself back. It's. I think this is our only, that's our mission as a human, is to bring yourself back as much as possible.
Sure.
Bring these habits. I'll be like, I'm out of the I'm out of my seat, and I need to get back into it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a practice I've done for 2 years, and I still do it. And it's very reflexive. Sometimes I lose it. I'm like, I get hungry, and I'm like, camera is not working. And I go, I'm like, it's okay, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Just talk to you. It's fine. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Kevin is gonna kill it. He's gonna fix it. But this is a daily practice.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're gonna move on to the next dish. If you're still hungry, right?
Yeah, bring it on.
Let's do it. All right. So.
Wow.
I like paneer.
Thank you.
Bit of lamb if you want.
I'm excited. Oh.
Now enjoy.
Wow. This looks incredible.
If you want, you have a knife also if you want to cut it.
Wow.
Good? This is good.
Sinfully delicious.
Thank you. That's something that I will put like in a small bistro restaurant, wine bar. You have this on the menu. That works 100%.
It's delicious.
All right. So now I'd love to chat about something with you. It's this topic about solitude versus community, and finding the balance between retreating inward and actually opening yourself to others and to the world.
I think the big thing that I've come across and something that I felt personally throughout my life is loneliness. I felt very much alone growing up, and it's so interesting because I've always had people around me. I was popular in school, but I really struggled with connection. And that has really been at the base of everything that I do. There's a part of me that wants to eradicate loneliness. I think it's a global thing. We're highly connected in this digital age, but we've never felt more disconnected. It's like we've forgotten our tribal intelligence. And a big part of tribal intelligence is coming together in community, doing things like being around a fire, singing, dancing, whatever it might be. And I think there's a big difference between being alone and being lonely, because you can be alone and be really happy. When you talk about retreating inwards, I think if you're very connected to yourself, it's a beautiful thing to be alone. But the moment we feel lonely, we've lost something. And I think it starts with we've lost ourselves. And in losing ourselves, we've lost each other. And so yeah, a lot of what I do, especially the retreats that I do, are heavily focused on how do we pull down the walls. I'll strip it back. So when we're kids, we're born fully open, right? I look at my daughter and she dances and she really doesn't care what she looks like. She sings and she says she's a singer.
How old is she?
She's 6. And I mean, she'll come up to me and she'll be like, "Mom, I'm an artist." Like dead serious, like I am an artist.
There's no way out of that. I'm an artist.
No, and it's like you could never tell a child you're not a dancer, you're not a singer. They're like, "But I'm dancing, I'm singing, what do you mean?" And over time, people tell them they can't, right? "You're not a dancer, you're not a singer, you can't do this, you can't do that." And our hearts get broken and we start to close ourselves off. And we start to change because we think other people want us to be a certain way, and we lose connection with ourselves. So we fit in, but we don't belong anymore. And I think that's where the real problem lies. It's we've built all these walls. We're so desperate for connection, but all of us have these big walls that stop us from getting close. And I'm a big fan of Brené Brown and all her work around vulnerability and shame. And I think the essence of community, but more than community, connection, stems from being able to put those walls down and to be vulnerable. And I think some of the most fundamental needs we have as human beings is the need to be seen, the need to be heard, and the need to feel valued, right? And all of that requires taking those walls down. You know, people might see you, but if they don't see the real you,
they don't see anything.
They don't see anything.
Yeah.
And so,
you'll never be seen.
Yeah, exactly. And that takes courage, right? Because the moment you allow yourself to be seen, you open yourself up to judgment, to rejection, to all the things that we've conditioned ourselves to protect ourselves from. But until we're brave enough to go there, I think we're always going to be lonely.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the community part's important, but it's the connection, right? And for me, moving to Ibiza, I feel like I've almost for the first time in my life really started to experience what those connections feel like. Probably because of the work I've been doing on myself for the last 10 years. And I feel like I'm in a place that really allows me to be me. And probably the biggest part of that is slowing down and having space, right? To feel comfortable enough to peel back those layers. And allow myself to be seen. And that's been a big shift.
I love that. I love that. And it's like this realization I had also about this alone and lonely. You know, in French, there's only one word for that.
Really?
It's seul. It's kind of, we don't have lonely and alone, right? And I think there's a massive difference between those two words because being alone is fine.
Totally.
Like, it's fine to be alone. Like, I was traveling in Japan for like 10 days on my own. Best time of my life. You know, it was incredible. But I think loneliness is something, it's something that you don't want to feel. And I've realized that a lot of people are trying to conquer loneliness by spending time with people, by thinking to conquer loneliness on your own, by being on your own.
Yes.
And it might sound a bit crazy, but
yes.
Only on your own you can conquer this loneliness. So yeah,
no, it's not crazy at all. And I think it comes back to that thing that I told you, like focus on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we're looking for, all the answers,
will fall into place.
all of it falls into place the moment you look inwards, because everything outside is a projection of what we feel. And I remember, I say this a lot with clients, you know, anything that you feel externally, they don't love me, they don't see me. It's a reflection of you not loving yourself, you not seeing yourself, you not, whatever's happening outside.
No one is going to love you more than you do.
100%.
That's it.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And the world happens from you, not to you. You know, it's not like, stuff is coming to me. Just
it's
maybe
happening
try to
for
switch
you.
back. And it's coming from you, it's coming for you. And, it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's your favorite dessert?
Oh man. So I have a few. I'm a very big sweet person, so whatever you're gonna make is gonna be great. One that reminds me of my grandmother is rice pudding.
Nice.
Red velvet cake has always been my sort of, if someone's going to make me a birthday cake.
It has to be red.
It has to be red.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to. You're like, I'm going to make you white.
Because, okay, what's the red velvet cake? It's just a red cake, right? It's food coloring inside, I think.
I think the whole thing about the red velvet is more the top.
There is nothing like naturally red, I think. I watched some recipe online. Yeah. It's just food coloring.
It's just food coloring,
So I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
But It's so rice
you know what
pudding.
I think it's the whatchamacallit, it's the cream cheese, like the
it's
icing.
like a layered cake, icing, yes.
That's the flavor there. But yes, rice pudding, it reminds me of my grandmother, my English grandmother.
Amazing.
Is that what we're going for?
Yes.
So good.
All right, now you can enjoy. So we're gonna wrap it up soon. What are you working on now? What is your next thing? I know you're always working on something, so that's what I'm asking.
I have a retreat,
Yeah.
a women's retreat coming up. And following that, I will be helping on a primal teacher training, which I'm really excited about.
Primal move, yeah.
Primal moves, yeah, here on the island. And come the end of that, I don't want to do anything for a while. I'll be going to Mexico in December as part of my school. And then I hope to take about 3 weeks off. And I can't wait.
Some holiday.
Okay. Some Christmas holidays, yeah. And besides that, just focusing on my coaching, working one-on-one with clients predominantly, which...
You do one-on-one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a very, very busy life.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do get told that a lot. Trying to find balance.
Yeah. How?
So it's constantly reminding myself to be present. I think that's the biggest thing I can do. So, and also
And rest.
resting and recognizing when I'm pushing myself and when it's proving and performing versus desire. I think that's a big one for me.
I love that. That's topic for a whole episode.
Yeah.
All right, next time.
Round 2. I'm ready for more food.
I need to cook again. Thank you so much, Mariel, for coming, for sharing everything you've shared with so much vulnerability and going so deep and so much clarity. I think I've seen you 3 times or 4 times in my life, but every time it's just, we talk for hours, we have so much fun, it's so easy. So for sure, we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
It's been lovely.
Scene 1, take 1, mark. Nice. This is the best part of it.
That's so great.
That's the best part of it.
So great. And we're done.
I'm done. That's it. No, let her enjoy and then we talk. No.
Oh gosh, but then I feel pressured to eat.
No, don't.
No.
We have all the time in the world. Like 3 minutes. No, it's good. It's good. All right.
You're going to do one more where you say see you soon.
Oh, yeah. And see you soon. Yeah, because I always say that.
One more time, you got to go like, thank you for coming and see you
And we'll see you soon.
So, yeah, again, thank you for coming and then see you soon.